In this game we will see a great example of how to play dynamic attacking chess even with no queens on the board. And the master we will learn from is Alireza Firouzja with the white pieces, who had a slightly better position here against Grandmaster Volokitin, and Black tried to free his position with some little tactics. But White was, yeah, well prepared and found enough resources to keep the game sharp and dynamic and a lot of counter threats, so that he even increased his advantage here after Black's last move, which is a mistake. So the idea of this d5 is of course not to blunder the pawn, but instead win an exchange with bishop to c5. And White, I guess, has seen this idea in advance, but he was ready to meet it. And if you want to challenge yourself, you can think about it. How can we meet this threat? But Alireza, he just found the strongest move, which is take the pawn anyway. And now the question is, of course, what to do if Black executes his threat. And this is another key moment, and he again found the best move, which is the most aggressive one, setting up a big threat. As you may have realized, is that this rook is not yet hanging, because there would be knight e7 check, king goes to the h file, and we would checkmate him. However, the question is how to improve the position, because if we move the rook away, then the other rook would drop. So Alireza handled this, I think, in quite a logical way, as you cannot move the d4 rook. We move the other rook, this one, from g1, and the most active is going to the h file, closing in the king. And now the rook is untouchable because of mate with knight to e7. There were other solutions. If you had, for example, rook to g2, this is also fine, getting the rook out of the pin. And again, Black cannot take because check, and this time rook h2 mate. Another very dynamic and forcing approach is to go b4, asking the bishop where to go, and the bishop really cannot take the rook, as he would again be checkmated after knight e7. So Black would have to eliminate the knight, but then we take this bishop and the threat is gone. White has, some good central control. It feels like being a pawn up, which is not the case after bishop a2, but after bishop a2, Black is just horribly coordinated, and maybe White can try to close in the bishop, or also throw g6 at some point, trying to combine threats against the Black king and against the bishop. So that's another approach, b4. Black is really lucky to have bishop d5 here, otherwise he would be lost instantly. But anyway, rook to h1 was a great move by Alireza. And Black, of course, understood that he's about to be checkmated, so he tried to create some space for his king. However, not in the best possible way. The best possible way was to go, instead of f5, rook f to d8. Now the king has some space. There is no longer a mating threat, and after rook to d1, Black could try to stabilize his king like that, putting the pawns on light squares, trying to block the white pawns. Of course, White has two more pawns on the queen side, but it's not 100% easy to convert. Maybe the bishop could also come over here in some instances where White is trying for checkmate. And with a bishop on g7, Black's king is pretty safe. So White is of course a lot better here, but it's not that clear, and that would have been the best defense. Instead, Black tried f5, which would probably be quite okay if it was not for White's very strong g6. And again, Black's king is caged in, and now also we see the king is also open from this diagonal, which will be very, very brutal for him later. So now Black tried to play rook f d8, and White just returned his rook to d2. Now Black's best was to take, which he did. White took with the rook, and now he needed to take immediately, or one move later here after king b1, rook d5. was really necessary, but he did not like to take on d5 as after bishop c4, very important move. We don't need to pick up the rook immediately. We rather want to take it with the bishop. We threaten bishop d5 with a check, so the king already sidesteps. We take, now the threat again is rook to h8, so the king sidesteps. And then we take this pawn, and now white is a lot of pawns up, stabilize it, and then convert it. So black was not willing to enter this because he thought this would be losing long term. But instead he tried to trade on e4 first, and then also have a passer, and white is not able to take on f5 himself because black traded this pawn. But there came a very bad surprise for black, and it again shows how strong Alireza is in those attacking positions, because he senses that this is a critical moment, that this is where dynamics come in, where you play for the checkmate, for the attack, and not, you're not forced to recapture every pawn your opponent takes. He played this very strong bishop to c4. And this is basically game over. Black cannot trade, because after that he would lose his rook due to a skewer on the back rank. And what to do? He was relying on king to f8 because he thought he could get the king out of the danger zone and be maybe surviving this. But at the same time he resigned, probably, I guess, because he realized the next white move and did not want to wait until Alireza executes it. And this is very strong motive of the kill zone. The black king is trying to run away from the danger zone, so white just boxes him in. And now we see the black king will be killed there. No way to run, and rook h8 incoming. The only way to prevent is rook d1, but this of course is too expensive. Whole rook down, and the rook might come back even one move later, and the mating won't last long. So this rook e5 killed the black king. So what black tried to do here is solve his positional problems with some tactics, but white saw even further and estimated correctly that he has a great attacking potential here, even without queens on the board. So very dynamic, putting up some threats every move, trying to defend tactically, of course, and great game by Alireza. Hope you enjoyed it too. If so, please let me know in the comments if you have any questions. If you like the video, please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.